what's going on.
Yeah, that's great. So thank you. I'm basically a television host. So I've been a journalist for a while. I have two TV shows. One is called the Geeta Chopra Show, just after my name. And then I have one called We the People. So the first show, I kind of interview different people from ministry, and we talk about personal stories in the community. And We the People, I typically interview individuals running for public office, candidates, things like that. And I also did a little bit of television on Sakshi TV, where I worked as a journalist to cover the U.S. 2020 elections. So that's my TV background.
Okay. I've noticed, and you talk about the local politicians, and I've kind of surprised me after we connected that I researched Pennsylvania, and it's about as middle of the road as you can get. Correct me if I'm wrong. You've got a Democrat governor, you got a Republican assembly. You have one Republican, one Democrat senators. You have 9 representatives, U.S. representatives, and you have 18 U.S. representatives, 9 Republicans, and 9 Democrats. Is that correct?
Wow, I wish I knew, but most of that does sound correct. I mean, I know the basics, but I don't know the exact numbers. Maybe I should have prepared a little better. But yes, we have been a swing state historically. I was very close in the last election as well. And of course, we're running, the governor's seat is up for election. I'm supporting Doug Mastriano. I know he's running for the seat. And we have a U.S. Senate seat open as well. I know Kathy Barnett is running. I had a chance to interview both of them on my TV show. But yeah, Pennsylvania is a pretty narrow gate, if you will, at the moment.
I was impressed by that. I thought that's really, I anticipated it being a little bit more left, but I was very, very happy to see. And you're absolutely right. We need to retain the Republican Senate or the Republican senator.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about thought that went into the book. I like the book. I'll explain to you a little bit some of my feelings afterwards.
Yeah. You know, I wrote the book just out of inspiration for the legacy of Donald Trump, and again, hoping he comes back, but. He was sort of a different type of president, if you will. And I just remember when I was at the George Washington University, I was one of the only few supporting him on a liberal campus. But, that was during the 2016 election year. And I think he kind of surprised me and exceeded my expectations just with different things in terms of the economy, his policies, his foreign policies, and just the state of the affairs of the country overall. I mean, if you look at the country now versus then, it's not even recognizable. But what really prompted me to write the book is just my love for the American dream, the country, our heritage, which is free enterprise, limited government, individual freedom and liberty, the traditional American values, right? Having a strong national defense as well. And we're really predicated upon equal rights versus equal outcome, or one could say equal opportunity versus equal outcome. And those are the things I really grew up believing in the U.S. And that prompted and inspired me to write the book to Donald Trump. And, and I think if you read the book, you'll see in the first chapter, I also had a vision. God gave me a vision of Donald Trump. And that's also why I wrote the book.
Geeta, this is Hasha, and nice to meet you, by the way. And
thank you.
We both have very unique names, Hasha and Geeta. It's not a very common American name, so I am a second-generation immigrant, and so I was interested in that aspect of it. I know that I'm not sure whether you are a second generation as well, or if you are directly from India, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself in relation to that.
Yeah, my parents immigrated to the United States, and I came with them when I was just a few years old. So my earliest memories are in the United States, but I wasn't born in the United States. So I guess you could say second generation. That's what I would be. I'm not directly raised in India. My parents were.
Now, when I was growing up, my mother, she's from Peru, from Lima, Peru, and she was very, very staunch conservative, actually, and she would always tell me that you can accomplish anything in this country if you put your mind to it. And she didn't really let us have excuses when we were younger about, if we were discriminated or not. And so you seem to me to be that type of individual as well.
Well, yeah, and there are no excuses, and I might be more to the right even on that aspect. I'm very hard on myself in this way, that I truly believe and know that everything is possible in the United States of America. And, when you don't have the American dream, or when you live outside of the U.S. for a while, or your ancestors come from another country, you really understand that. And, my American friends, of course, maybe colleagues and things like that, they understand it. But I just felt that I always understood it on a deeper level.
Yeah,
somehow.
I agree. I mean, I think that, my mother used to tell us all the time, don't take this for granted. Don't take being American
Right.
for granted. And she used to always say she was an American born in the wrong country. But she really taught me to be able to dream and to accomplish things because of her outlook. So it was really great when Rick suggested that we have you on.
Amen.
Actually, I reminded her that you kind of remind me of each other. I think I wrote you that, strong, independent, smart women. I like to surround myself with that type. But
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. One thing I noticed in your book, and it kind of brought me back to two of my favorite founding fathers, when you was talking about your passion for Trump. It took me back to remember that Trump did exactly one thing that the founding fathers did, and as much as he pledged his life, his fortune, and his sacred honor. And that's the same thing like the leaders, John Hancock and Benjamin Franklin. Neither one of them were particularly politicians, although Hancock was actually the president before Washington, but it wasn't the United States. It was like a colony type deal. But they're both very, very wealthy men, and they both sacrificed everything for their country. I don't know if Donald Trump set out that way, but he darn sure ended up that way, and he wouldn't quit. And I picked up a lot of that insight from you in your book. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because I don't want to tell everybody about your book, because I want them to buy it and make you rich and famous. So, but what kind of future oh, go ahead.
No, sorry, continue.
What is your future projects coming up beyond 2022? Are you going to run for office yourself, or stay in communications, or get married and have babies? Or all three?
And that's a great question, and the answer is a bit of each.
Oh, great.
And one of the things that you did mention that I'd like to do, that I'm planning for, I'd really like to meet President Donald Trump, and I'm putting that in motion, to make that happen. I wrote the book dedicated to him, and I'd like to hand him a copy in person. Mm-hmm. And do a book signing with him, and that's one of my future projects.
It's good. That's a good idea.
That's excellent. Geeta, do you mind if we take a quick break, and we will please hold on the line, and we will be right back.
What happened?
Yes, thank you.
All right. We're back. And Geeta, are you with us?
I'm here.
Much better.
Yes, much better. Okay. The book signing with Trump. That would be fantastic. I will say, I don't know if you know this, I was a Trump surrogate when he was running. And
Who introduced Trump when he came to town? Who was it?
I was one of the people
Pasha.
that introduced him. Yeah,
That's
when he came to
right.
town.
Oh, well, you
Yeah.
and I will talk.
Yes,
Fine.
and I got to meet him, and I'll tell you, the man is an amazing man. And I knew, right, we were all standing afterwards, and all of us were towards the front because we had just, we had introduced him when he came in to St. Louis, and we were all standing there up front, and he took his time. The one thing I really noticed about him was he was very different. He's a different type of politician, like you said. He took his time coming down to talk to everybody. He wasn't rushed away. He was none of that. He came down, he talked to everybody. He came and talked to me and my mom, and he was very, very interested in what we had to say, and very genuine and very soft-spoken, believe it or not. And most people hear him, screaming, but he was very soft-spoken, and I could see how he has accomplished a lot in his life. I mean, he was very, very genuine. And the one thing I did remember was he said, wow, he's like, because I told him I was an immigration attorney, and he said, wow, he's like, we really need people like you. And he asked me for a card, and unfortunately I didn't have one. And of course, great time to be unprepared. But then his security guard actually took my number down and my name. And then later on, in a couple of months, what happened was the security guard called me and said, hey, we're looking for some more surrogates. Would you be willing to get on? And I said, absolutely. So that's how that all happened. And I ended up on MSNBC a few times, and it was a really just great experience. And what I would like to say is that Trump was the only presidential candidate that would have ever done that, just taken somebody like me, which he didn't even know anything about me, and give me an opportunity. So
That's fabulous. Yeah, and that's reflective, I believe, of his character. Like you said, he's definitely different. He's not a career politician. He's not in it for the money or the fame per se. He really had a genuine interest to help Americans, help people, and restore our country. And, this story that you just told verifies that.
Yeah.
That's great.
For those of you just joining us late, we are speaking to Geeta Chopra from Pennsylvania and discussing her book, My Public Letter to Donald Trump. And she's telling us also about her future. What other plans do you have?
Well, for now, I'm actually working on another book.
Okay.
And that's a little bit on a different topic, but I'm doing that. I'm continuing with my television ministry, and I have a few other personal projects on the go. So, as it relates to business and real estate. So, yeah. And you asked me earlier if I wanted to run for office, and the answer is yes, but I'm not going to come out and make an announcement or anything right now.
Okay, but you have an office
That's
in mind, huh?
future.
You have one in mind already?
I kind of do. I'm praying about it, and I'm seeing where I'm being led to focus on. So, yeah.
Another thing, the married and family. Any plans there?
Oh, yeah, that's something I definitely hope to accomplish, and I think that would be a great thing for me. Absolutely. That's something I would love to happen.
Yeah, sounds great. And question, where do you see yourself, I guess, in 5 years? Is it with the book signing? Hopefully, what is your short and long-term goals?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I want to continue writing, and I want to continue with my TV work, and definitely, like you said, book signings and things like that. I am going to be launching another book, and by that time, I should probably be more in the public eye. So if I'm going to be running for office or something like that, and just continuing with my volunteer work. I do a few different things. I'm involved with the YWCA, and I volunteer at the 700 Club.
Oh.
So I have a few ministries as well, yeah.
Now, I think I read that you were born again, or born again Christian?
Yes, I am.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've dedicated my life to Jesus Christ. He saved me. He brought me out of the darkness, and he basically gave me a new life. And all these things happened since, And I think Matthew 6:33 says, seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be given to you besides. So that means seek Him first, and He blesses you, and He causes you to be fruitful and prosperous, and He gives you everything besides. Some of the things we talked about, marriage, running for office. They all come from Him, and even this book actually came from Him. He gave me the vision. I had the dream. It wasn't a dream. It was actually a vision of Donald Trump. And I felt the pain that he felt in the dream. I could feel that. And I woke up very disturbed. And then God told me to write this book. And,
Wow.
So I kind of lean on him for everything, for the wisdom for the future. I don't know exactly where I'll be in 5 years, but I know the one who knows.
That's good. That's inspiring for all women out there, or everyone out there. You don't have to be a female to do that.
Right.
How's your family support? I mean, I noticed by looking at your pictures and all that, you have, it seems like a very close family. Are they thinking about you being in politics, or they have other plans?
Yeah, so we are close. They're actually apolitical, so no one's really too involved in politics except for me here. And but I'm sure they'd be glad.
You're still
to
talking to
support
them
me.
though, right?
Oh, yeah, we don't
They're
really
still
talk
talking to
about
you?
politics. Yeah, they know I'm a Trumper, but it's not offending anyone or anything. We actually don't really talk much about. They're just not interested in politics.
Yeah.
But I definitely.
Well, I have the same issue. I'm very close to my family, but they don't all necessarily agree with me about Trump or agree that I was, a surrogate, or agree with any of that. But, they're happy for me, and they're just kind of like, okay, I think families that tend to stay together are the ones that know which conversations to avoid, right?
Right. That's
some
well
ways.
said.
Another question
and
I
it's
had.
about respecting everyone.
Right,
Sorry.
exactly. Another question I had was, I think most people were surprised when Trump came into office and actually became one of the most pro-life presidents we've ever had. And I want to get your take on that, being that you're Christian. How did that strike you? And can you tell me your reaction?
Yeah, and obviously I'm pro-life, but that doesn't mean I'm judgmental, and I'm not out here to condemn people. I cannot, I'm not God, and
Right.
no one's going to stand before me. But, that's something that did trouble me for a long time, and I actually had to leave a place that I was worshiping at because of that. And, I think this last election also exposed a lot of people, a lot of Christians, and kind of brought the truth to the surface, and it was very painstakingly done. Certain people who were supposed to follow certain things or just follow the Bible or stand for things just didn't. And, and one of those people, Donald Trump, I'm just, grateful and I'm impressed by the fact that he stood for the Christian community in that way, and he stands for that. He still does. So to me, that's very important.
Do you think he was as surprised as we were to see the betrayal that happened within his own inner circle? I know he.
Yes, and that's a dream I had. That's exactly what it was. A table, and it was his inner circle, and the word was betrayal. And according to the dream, yeah, he was surprised. He was sad, and he was very. There's no word to actually put it, because God just showed me the emotion, and He didn't give me a word behind it. And He just showed me a time in my life. We all go through rejection when we're younger, just different things we feel. And that's the best way I can describe it. God just said, well, remember how you felt back then when you were rejected, back whenever, high school or something silly, but the pain was real. And that was the same pain that I saw from him in the dream. And, it was just magnified 100 times, because these are people, we're talking about the Supreme Court, we're talking about his inner cabinet,
True.
That he supported. He put some of those people in place in their offices, and then they rejected him. So it was really betrayal and rejection at the highest level possible. And of course, just being the strong person that he is, that's why I was inspired by him, is that he picked himself up and started again. And, and that's what we have to do every day as humans. And that's one of the things I learned from him.
I agree. I think it's a lesson. Him learning it is going to make him better if he does come back. What doesn't destroy us makes us stronger. So, but I've read that in your book too. I was very interested in your take on that. What is your next book about?
So it's actually a Christian book. It's not on politics per se, but it's a book on just a Christian single walk. So some of the things I learned while being single, and kind of being a woman in the kingdom of God, is your identity in Christ. So it's about establishing your identity in Christ. It's a little different than my first book.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know you very well, but I'm pretty sure you're a Proverbs 31 woman. I think
that's a great one. Yes.
Yes.
I do refer to that in the book.
Good. Ever who you partner with, he will be known in the kingdom by your grace. And I'm very impressed with your book and the conversation. Like I said, this is the first time we really talked. We've chatted and emailed a couple times, but yeah. So Anything you'd like to
thank
leave
you.
our audience? I mean, we've got just a couple more minutes with you, but maybe 5 more minutes. Anything interesting about your life or your future or school or any books that you read that you recommended that guided you along your path or
Yeah, mostly the American Constitution. I just grew up being a constitutional buff, an American history buff. I'm really fascinated by the American Revolution. After reading that, I just fell in love and realized there's no other country in the world like us. And, we really have something special. I just encourage all Americans, like she said, not to take it for granted and just consider that when you're voting this year. And, we have the primaries, we have the midterms, and we have 2024. Just consider, don't forsake the American dream and our flag, the patriotism, everything we stood for. Thomas Jefferson, all the men who laid down their lives for us. To me, that's super important. That's something, I fight for, and I live and die for, really.
Yes.
So I just want to encourage people that way, and pick up a copy of my book. Just keep an open mind about Donald Trump. A lot of people hated him, and that's part of why I wrote the book. I think there's a big misunderstanding. There's also a lot of judgment from the Christian community. I know plenty of Christians who just don't like him, but he was the one supporting our biblical values, or at least his party was. And like you said, him personally with the pro-life agenda. So just keep an open mind. That's what I would say.
Geeta, where can anybody find your book, or if they want to know more information about you, where can they go?
So they can go to Amazon. My book is on there. And I do have a YouTube channel called The Geeta Chopra Show. All my TV shows are uploaded there. And from Amazon, I do have a public biography where they can find links to my TV show and more information about me. And then, of course, upcoming books will come out on there as well.
Great. Geeta, thank you so much for being with us. We are going to be wrapping it up here pretty soon. So thank you so much.
Well, we need a pledge from you. You have to promise to come back after you publish your next book. Is that?
I will. I'll come back after I meet Donald Trump. How's that?
Oh, that'll even be better. Yeah. Matter of fact, if you have an appointment, bring us with you.
Yeah. Josh is going to arrange that, right?
Yeah. I didn't get to meet him. Hasha did. But
thank you, Geeta. We appreciate you. Keep going. Keep the dream alive. We love you. Take care.
God bless you both. Thank you. Good night.
Bye. Good night.
We'll be right back, people.
Bye.
Welcome back, folks.
Yeah, I am so glad we had her on. She was such a joy.
Very cool.
I knew she would be. I really did. That's enlightening. It's very enlightening, and I love to hear stories like that.
Yeah,
where they're
she's a
inspired.
kindred spirit, really.
Absolutely, absolutely. Unfortunately, we have to change subjects, though. We got to go
Well,
something
kinda.
that's not so kindred.
Kind of. It's immigration. So
Well-
talk about immigrants. There we go.
We
Go
are
segue.
being blackmailed by the Democrats, and it was testified to in the last couple of days in the Congress. But the one that enlightened me about it was the young senior citizen senator from Georgia, John Ossoff. Ossoff or something like that. I'm gonna call him Zorro from now on because I think he represents more Mexico than he does Georgia. He said that
Zorro the Gay Blade. You guys ever seen that movie?
yeah, I have.
a good one.
I've heard about it. It's he was being interviewed by Brett Baer, and Brett Baer is supposed to be one of the better interviewers in Fox, but he missed a great opportunity on this. And Brett Baer asked him about doing something about the border, closing the border down. And he brought up an old topic which has been discussed last couple of days in the House and the Senate about the immigration laws, the old
Title
immigration
42.
the what?
Title 42.
Well, no. I'm talking about the new laws, where they solve all the problems, comprehensive immigration reform.
Oh, comprehensive. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, this is a code word, folks. This is not immigrant. What this is, and the reason I sent part of the letters to you about Reagan was comprehend what the Democrats want. They wanted to legalize the 20 million illegals that's been here since 1986, and give them voting rights. So what they're saying is, we will close the border. We will make it safe if you give us this comprehensive immigration bill. In the meantime, and if you don't, basically, by the way,
It's amnesty is what they're asking.
well, amnesty plus, yeah, because they're going to make them lawful permanent residents, and they're going to have the right to vote. Because as soon as they make them lawful permanent residents, Schumer is going to introduce a bill saying that they're here, they're paying taxes.
Well, even so, after 5 years, they can apply for naturalization. So it's not going to be that long.
Well, he'll make it even sooner, but that's not necessary. I mean, it's if we don't yield to their whims or their demands, they're going to leave the border open. They're going to increase it from 8,000 a day to 18,000 a day, which will give us 2 million illegals at least per year for a 4-year term. So they're going to allow at least 8 million people to come in illegally and flood our towns and our schools and our social systems and our hospitals. Let drugs come over. Let the child slave acts. Let the prostitution that's being involved in these people trying to get here, the females anyway, and maybe some males too, simply because they want more Democratic voters. And they refuse to uphold their oath. Now, the reason we should stand strong on this is because we did this before.
Yes, we did. And I didn't agree with it the first time.
I don't blame
Or
you.
the second time, actually.
And
or the third time.
And the Democrats, they didn't keep their side of the promise, did they? Their promise was that they would control the border if Ronald Reagan would give amnesty to, I thought it was 3 million, but somebody came up later and said,
It's about 3 million.
is it 3 million
yeah,
or 6 million?
3 million.
Okay, that's a little bit better.
But it's still a lot of people, a lot of people, and we're talking about people who came over here undocumented, illegally,
Right.
against the laws of our country, and I'm from the Hispanic community.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was, and she comes from another country, and she didn't agree with it. And there's actually a lot of immigrants here that don't agree with it because they had to go through the whole rigmarole of the system in order to get where they're going. I just had recently had a client who's a top-notch researcher for things like cancer and gene splicing and all kinds
medical.
of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's from India, and he had to wait like 14 years to get a green card.
It's not. I mean, we need him.
It's crazy, yes.
Yeah.
And then you're going to say, and he came here legally the way he was supposed to. So there's a lot of people on both sides, actually. Immigrants are not all for this. I'll tell you, like some of the Hispanics are, because they say, oh, well, I have certain number of generations that came over here, and so my grandparents want to be legal and all this stuff. But look, you know what you're doing when you cross.
Sure.
You know, you're not ignorant. You know that you're taking a chance, you're risking it, and you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, and that's unlawful. There's not a question there.
They fought Trump when Trump tried to work with them on this. Of course, I mean, nobody, even a lot of Republicans didn't want to build the wall. I mean, had Mitch McConnell and Ryan, the Speaker of the House, worked with Trump, we would have had the wall built within 2 years and not almost built within 4 years or 3 years. Mm-hmm. But, they didn't work with him. He had a plan for the Dreamers. Now, the Dreamers, under my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, they are the infants that came over here, or the very, very, very young children that came over here with their parents. They grew up here not knowing anything about what the country they came from.
Yes.
They're American everything but the birth certificate.
Yes.
And they're Dreamers. They want to be Americans. Donald Trump had a plan, and the Democrats rejected this. We legally immigrate 1 million people on the pathway to citizenship, illegal immigration, 1 million per year. Now, in Reagan's day, I think it was like 250,000 or 300,000, but we do it 1 million per year. What Trump proposed to do was, the Democrat says that there's 800,000 Dreamers. Trump says, I think it's a little closer to 1,600,000. I think you're lowering the bar here, But what he will do for cooperation from the Democrats says we will reduce the 1 million to 900,000, and we will add 100,000 Dreamers per year to the path to citizenship and give them legal immigration. And that means within 10 years, his promise would be within 10 years, probably everyone who wanted to be a citizen that came in as a Dreamer would be. I mean, others have other avenues, like if you join the military, I think you can get around the immigration problem and so forth like that. But the Democrats rejected it. They didn't want that. That didn't solve their problem. They want 12, 14, 20 million illegal residents.
Yeah,
to
and
be
you're
voters,
right. It's
to be
because
voters.
it's for voting
Yeah.
purposes. I mean, yeah, I don't agree with any of this. I don't agree with amnesty. The law is the law. I mean, if you go to other countries, it's this way. Like they're not. If you go to Mexico, they're not just allowing anybody. If you go in my mother's country in Peru, they don't allow just anybody. And it's a lot more stringent in other countries, frankly.
Good.
Now, so they're going to come and say, oh, well, we should go ahead and accept everybody. No, I mean, I understand if you came here when you were a baby and you have no other country, you have no idea how anything else works. I understand that. But that's a problem we're always going to have, because that's not going to go away, because illegal immigration is going to stay as long as there are jobs to come to here in this country. So that's why a lot of them come here, because they want more money for their family and more opportunity, and so they come here. But I just don't think that giving everybody amnesty is the answer to that problem. It just creates more problems, in my mind, because we are encouraging breaking the law.
That's what happened when Reagan did it.
Yeah, absolutely.
They didn't secure the border. More people came, and they came faster.
Sure.
And they wouldn't stop it.
Well, and in 1986, so this act that they passed, they did say it was anybody that came in prior to 1982. And so that way it wasn't, they said they weren't going to encourage people from coming in, because 1982, was before they passed it. So, but again, that's not really what happened, and I think people don't care. People are going to continue to come across if they think they can get away with it. So it's our country. A country is supposed to have borders. Otherwise, it's not a country. It just makes complete logical sense for me for us to focus on securing the borders. Now, I will say this, having been in the an immigration attorney for as long as I have, the immigration laws are crazy and ridiculous and complicated, okay? And they're much more so where somebody who's trying to do this the right way is spending thousands of dollars and waiting years and years and years to get a visa or to get a green card. And so I think the people that we really want to attract, those high-level people, the people like I just talked about that I was representing, you know, here are researchers, top-level doctors, people like that. I think that there should be an easier system. So as far as reform goes, I think we're going to reform. I agree with Trump in that he was trying to reform those higher-level positions where they could be streamlined because, frankly, it's a mess, you know, really. And in practicing in this area, it's a mess. And employers don't get the people they want, even though they have specific people for specific jobs, and they can't find, you know, other people when they're interviewing to find somebody to do it correctly. And so we are trying to act like the employer, the government, to say who they can and can't hire. You know, if people are doing this the right way and going about it the right way, then we should encourage that. You know, and it should be streamlined for those people that are doing it the right way as opposed to what it is now, which is a nightmare.
What about the students that come over here on a visa and they graduate, they go to medical school or they get a PhD and are they any way, shape or form ahead of the line or they got to go back? They got to go back and start over again?
No, they're not ahead of anything. That's the thing. There's no, it's just done strictly by, now there's two different tracks for those of you who don't know. There's the employment track and then there's the family track, right? So if you go the family track, so for instance, if somebody marries a U.S. citizen, then they're immediately able to get a visa, immediately able to get a green card. If they're employed, then it takes years. So
the fastest way, regardless of skills, regardless of background, anything, if
you marry a U.S. citizen.
And you can bring your family over too.
Yeah, it's quick.
I mean, the family is
well, the family depends. Like my mother came over and she brought she and her sister at the time who was here tried to bring their brother over, and it took about 15 years to bring him here. So it was a long wait, but he's here and, you know.
So if we legalize 20 million under this Congress or under this president this year, now that's going to be, they're going to be legal. Now they can reach out and get their family members from the countries that they came from, even if it's Iran, Iraq, and so forth, and bring them over, and they'll get ahead of the list. They'll be ahead of the professional people that we need.
It depends. Yeah. I mean, if they have children, for example, then they'll be able to bring them over quickly. If they, I believe it's if they have parents, they'll be able to bring their parents quickly. So there are those things where, you're not just talking about one person a lot of times. You're talking about many people that you're bringing over. So those numbers are not necessarily accurate, right? Because they say, okay, we're going to legalize 20 million people, or we're going to legalize 6 or 10 or 15 million people. It's not really 15 million, right? It's the additional people that you're going to be bringing over. So it's really probably double that number.
Or triple.
Yeah.
And by doing that, also, if we get them from the South American countries through the illegal process and then legalize them from the illegal process, this is going to put a serious reduction or serious hold on the professional people who are trained that we need to come in to immigrate for our system.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like double or triple jeopardy here. We're not only getting voters that we don't particularly know, votes have been paid for, bought and paid for, but we're getting families and we're arresting the legal immigration part from the desirable people that we want.
That's right. The people that have the higher educations or are doing jobs that people can't do.
Well, we had a Secretary of Homeland Security testify, and we out of time? Oh, I'm sorry. We had a Secretary of Homeland Security testify for the last 2 days, and he says basically he's doing all he can. He can't do any more. He can't do his job unless the Congress passes this comprehensive immigration bill, which the ramifications of this bill is 10 times worse than the disease that we have.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be a crisis. honestly, if they try to do this.
And
It
this
makes no sense whatsoever. Look, if we were not a welfare state, which we are, okay?
Yep.
If we were not, come in. I don't care, right? Sink or swim. That's how it used to be prior in the early 1900s, and prior to that,
Right.
it was open. People came to Ellis Island. The worst thing people asked was, "Are you crazy, or do you have some kind of disease?" They looked at you. As long as you had somebody that sponsored you, could be anybody. Say, "Hey, okay, I'm here. I'm going to get this guy." It was up to you to take care of them. It wasn't up to the government. But now we have all these programs with refugees. We give people a lot of money to come here. We support people. We are on this welfare state that we have now. We can't afford this.
free education, free health care.
Yeah, free. Yeah. So, I mean, that comes with a price.
Was the anchor baby thing still a thing?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, if they're born here.
I mean, we were under the impression that people were just coming here in their last trimester just to have
and having a baby. That's possible, yeah.
Chinese,
I mean,
I don't
you
know.
have to wait 18 years before the baby can,
The vote.
sponsor you.
Sponsor,
Sponsor you, but still, you'd have to, at that point, you'd have to show that you being out of the country would be detrimental to the U.S. citizen in order to get that.
But I think also there's a serious question in the wording of the preparation of the 14th Amendment that really addressed that issue, that anchor babies, I mean, if you're not born of either one of your parents were citizens.
Natural born? Is that what you're talking about?
Either one of your, if you was naturally born, or you was born in the United States, and neither one of your parents were naturally born citizens, then you don't really have a claim. Now that's not how they're.
I don't
but
see that's interpreting that way.
Well, it's going back to the papers and the proposals that was written up in the was 1868. When
I'll have to look
the
that.
14th
I'll have to
Amendment
look that up.
saying the purpose for that, and the only
You've
reason.
intrigued me, Rick. I have to look it up.
That's I hit one out of the park every now and then.
Intriguing.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been talking. I mean, I got to be on my. I talked to two very, very intelligent women tonight, and then I come here and
crash.
Dun-dun-dun.
He'll be here all week.
yeah, well, yeah. No, but that's anyway. I'm glad we got that out. Oh, the other thing is I'll talk about blackmail. This is totally blackmail.
Oh.
You see where the Russians are blackmailing the Eastern Europeans, particularly Poland.
Oh yeah. About their natural gas exports.
They must pay in rubles. And I was
They
telling.
also said they're not going to sell anymore
Well,
to them
they'll sell
and
it
to
if-
the Western.
they'll
To try to get them to break up the alliance.
Well, yeah, but they'll sell it in rubles. I mean, they're not going to give it the whole farm. But I was explaining to our Phil, who's not our engineer.
Our Phil.
Well, he's not our engineer. He's our producer. I was corrected about that by my son, so I stand corrected.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, thanks. For some reason, even with all this going on, of course, you got the crisis in Europe, and you got the COVID in China. The dollar is strong,
yeah,
and
you said that.
you would think that with all the trade that's going on, the supply chain problems, the trading in yen and trading in rubles, and that it would weaken the dollar. But we're actually strengthening the dollar at a very suspicious time.
Suspicious.
Can you explain that to me, lawyer?
Suspicious.
My favorite attorney. Can you explain that to
I
me?
don't know. It sounds very complicated. Sounds like I'm not, I'm not qualified.
It ain't gonna- Okay, what else we got on the agenda tonight? Now that we're both going to get off our soapbox.
We are getting off. Okay, so the soapbox I meant. I mean, I
Yes.
mean that that way. Okay, so Missouri changes to voting procedures initiative. Now, this is something I just want Missourians to be aware of because there's a couple of things going on. So there's a couple of initiatives. One of them is Missouri changes to voting procedures, and this is an initiative to amend the Constitution to make the following changes. Prohibit the use of machines to tabulate votes, require a hand count of votes, require a state-issued ID or driver's license to vote, permit 14 days of early voting, allow poll observers, allow the state legislators to adjust or avoid vote totals, and make voter fraud a crime of treason. Ooh.
Yeah.
these are all pretty good. Okay, so this is one initiative. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because there's another initiative that they're trying to tie together with this initiative. So I want everybody to kind of be on guard, okay? There's another vote initiative that they need to have a certain number of signatures by May 10th.
Was it 150,000?
Yeah, it's 170,000 signatures, okay? And it's called the Better Elections Amendment, okay? And yes, with a name like that, you should be wary already.
Yeah.
But
That's suspicious.
what they're saying is they want ranked choice voting for Missouri elections. Now, in case nobody knows what that is, that means that if you have like 4 people, in other words, we're not going to have like primaries, right? We're going to have just regular voting. And so if you have 4 people running for something, and 3 of them are Republican because it's a mainly Republican area, and one of them's a Democrat, guess who's going to win? The Democrat, because you're rank choicing them. So if Democrat gets majority of the votes or gets the most votes, then that person wins. Okay, so if they get most votes and the other 3 Republicans, it's broken up into those 3 Republicans. So none of them get a large number of votes. So that's what they're asking to happen.
Okay, my understanding is, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you vote, you're voting basically, you rank them 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you can vote for every candidate, but you're first, second, third, or fourth. When they add them up, first they add the number ones, the first choices, but eventually they get down to adding how many.
I don't think so. I think you
And how
just
is it?
vote for the top for one
Just for
person.
one,
You
okay.
vote for one person. The problem with this is that it's a slippery slope, right?
Right.
So in places where it's Democrat driven, then the Democrats may lose, right? Because the Republicans will probably only run one person.
Right.
In places that it's Republican, which is the majority of our state, then you're talking about that the Democrats may take it because they're going to be the number 1 ranked person in that voting district. So in other words, it's not going to be party, and it's not going to be split by party anymore. It's just going to be whoever's in the top 4.
But where does the ranking come in? I mean, I thought you're ranking them 1, 2, and
No,
3.
they're ranking them. Once they tabulate the amount of votes that all of these people get, the top 4 people are going to go to the general election. So in other words, there's not going to be any primaries.
Okay, this is in lieu of a primary.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's the problem.
Okay.
So
Well, that's what I was saying.
So the Better Elections Amendment, they are really pushing. The reason I'm bringing this up is because we potentially will have this Better Elections Amendment, and we'll also have this Missouri Changes to Voting Procedures Initiative
on the ballot.
On the ballot. The thing is they're going to want people to support it. They're probably out trying to get signatures right now. They know there's a Missouri Changes to Voting Procedures Initiative, so they're going to try to kind of blend the two when they're standing in front of the post office to try to get people to sign. So everybody just needs to be aware that there's 2 different initiatives. One sounds like a good initiative with Missouri Changes to Voting Procedures, and the other one, the ranked choice voting, is not so good, particularly for conservatives in Missouri.
Yeah, believe it or not, I was approached by a guy in the parking lot at the other day about signing the ranked choice. And I asked him to explain it to me, and
he couldn't.
Yeah.
Well, man, it's going to make things better.
Yeah. Trust me, I get paid.
Right.
Yeah.
Real quick, let's talk about Elon Musk.
Oh, you love that guy, don't you?
I do.
I don't blame you. I do too.
It's crazy. So he
wants to buy a public company that has a devious past and make it private.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, he finally acquired Twitter. He became the large shareholder. This was just recently. And so the board, I believe, has approved it. So it goes to the shareholders now and see what they're going to do. So,
well, they got to, if they want to sell or not. Yeah.
Yeah. But We'll see how it goes, but boy, we're keeping tabs on this closely.
We
I
have
think
been.
people are going crazy over this because now I heard some people say, "Well, Musk isn't really above free speech. He's just trying to get attention," and which they may have. I mean, he is kind of an interesting guy, right?
Very.
He's not
Very.
He's not a boring guy.
No.
That's for sure.
No.
I mean, he's pretty funny. He tweeted out, "Next, I'm buying Coca-Cola to put the cocaine back in." So
I miss it. I don't miss the burps, but I miss the real Coke. How about you, Phil? You missed the Coke out of the cocaine?
Yeah.
I mean, the
man.
cocaine out of the
I
Coke?
never really cared for it. I liked the way it smelled.
Yeah?
I didn't really care for it, though.
Did it make you burp?
No.
you didn't inhale then?
Right.
You did it, hell, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's they're complaining. This is kind of like what's the world that's just upside down? Not it's what's the word?
Upside down world.
Well, not uniworld or there's a word for it, but anyway, it's the liberals are complaining that they might be modified in their opinion, that he doesn't really believe in free speech. That he believes that only free speech if you agree with him. But that's what they've been preaching for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, shoes on the other foot, right?
Yeah, and he's sitting around just think, okay.
I think it was interesting. He actually said, "Hey, I don't care. People are very critical of me."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "I want people to keep being critical of me and to put it on Twitter. It's fine."
Yeah.
I don't think he cares.
Does Twitter cost? Is there a fee? I've never been on Twitter.
No, it's just a social. It's free.
So
social
he
media.
makes his money out of what? Advertising? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how all these social media.
I knew Facebook did, but
Yeah,
I'm sure.
they all do that. So he put out a tweet yesterday. For Twitter to deserve public trust, it must be politically neutral, which effectively means upsetting the far right and the far left equally.
Fine with me. Yeah.
He's right about that.
Yeah. That's after 5 or 6 years of what we've experienced. It's go for it. It's always the left that don't want to have the argument. Don't want to have the discussion.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
After they spout what they've learned on a 30-second soundbite, or what a student heard or may have heard their teacher say in class, that they're done. I don't want to talk anymore. I know what I'm talking about. And you bring up another issue about it or another approach to it, it's foreign to them. They don't want to talk. They want you to shut up. So maybe even Zuckerberg might lighten up on his censorship.
Maybe. Well, I think we're going up to a break here.
Is it time?
And yes, it's time. And
Okay.
we're going to be coming up with Community Kid. That's our education and children's segment.
We got a special segment, too, though,
Yes.
that we've added into the show.
Is he here?
Spontaneously, yes.
Okay, great.
All
Great. Yeah,
right.
we are going to have
We're having
Mystery
some
guest.
mystery
A
guest
mystery
on,
guest?
on a mystery show. Yeah, that's perfect.
Wow.
A suspicious
Okay.
show. We are
Yeah.
suspicious tonight. We are suspicious.
Everything's been a little suspicious.
We'll be right back.
All right, we'll be
Thank you.
back.
Welcome back, folks. We have another guest. with us
Surprise guest.
Yeah,
A happy guest.
Yeah.
and for a short time.
Somebody who's awake. It's 10 o'clock already.
Yeah, okay. Peter Pfeifer is running for Accessor, and he's come to explain to us what Accessor does and why he's the man for the job.
There you go.
It sounded dangerously close to Peter Pfeifer.
It's Pfeifer.
Peter
right?
Piper?
It's Peter. Now, no more jokes because my mother did that to me.
Yeah, yeah. Hey.
We'll have to go outside and talk about what my mama did.
My first name is Ricky, and I'm living with that.
And my name is Hasha. Who knows what that
Yeah.
means?
So
Okay.
you got the easiest road here.
Well, I'm glad we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
The St. Louis County Assessor is a very interesting position, as I was just saying. I was real excited to run, and I know a lot about real estate. I've been in the commercial real estate business for over 20 years, negotiating for landlords and tenants and buyers and sellers, sometimes representing both parties in one transaction. The St. Louis County Assessor appraises both real property and personal property. Personal property is your car, your motorcycle, your boat, your ATV, all that good stuff. Your trailer, that's all personal property. But your real property is your house, your building, your farm, and those are all assessed at different rates according to state law. Residential property is at agricultural property is at 12%, residential is at 19%, and commercial's at 33%, roughly. That's all state law. The St. Louis County Assessor will appraise your property. Now, don't get confused. This is where it all gets sideways. Yeah. An assessor's appraisal is different than a market appraisal, okay? In particular, our current St. Louis County Assessor is using comparable sales to determine what your value is.
No physical exam.
On some cases there are.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what his methodology is. I know it's very flawed.
Okay.
Evidenced by 22,000 people appealing their assessments this year out of the 100,000 homes in St. Louis County. The St. Louis County Assessor's appraisal of your property is supposed to represent by state law what the true value of money is in those properties, whether it be real or personal property. I know it's 10 o'clock. People are definitely getting ready to go to sleep, and
Wake up.
This will certainly help.
Yeah.
But the true value of money in a property is different than what market value is in property. In particular, when we're in a heated real estate market as we are now, a real estate bubble, if you will. And he's using the real estate bubble to increase the property value across St. Louis County. Thereby, everybody's taxes are going up. The assessor's office is the first stop or step in the taxation process. The assessor really doesn't tax you. It's the taxing entities that tax you. If you get your notice from the assessor and you flip it over on the backside, there are 20 different entities that have a hand in your pocket.
Involved.
That's right. What the assessor does is appraises your property for assessment purposes, not market purposes. So a $100,000 house is assessed at 19%. So we have $19,000 that all those taxing authorities look at and know they can get their 71 cents per $100 valuation out of. So I encourage everyone to flip that over, their assessment, flip it over and see where your money's going. Primarily, 70%, 80% is going to your school district. So why I'm running is I know that market value and true value in money are different things. And I'll bring that about. I'll bring that change back to the benefit of the taxpayer, not the benefit of the budget makers.
So how would you resolve these issues?
Well, the assessor can do a few things. Again, it's very tightly monitored by state law. And also, again, if you're not asleep yet, here it comes. The Hancock Amendment comes into play.
Okay, folks.
Well,
get the coffee out.
Or the whiskey. Just reach for something.
It's going to, we didn't get here overnight with our current county assessor. Okay, so it's not going to be corrected overnight. I wish I could say, St. Louis County is overappraised by 20%, and day one I'm going to lower appraisals by 20%.
I like
Yeah.
it. I like it. Yeah. Hey.
Probably not realistic.
I
That's
can-
enough, folks. Come back now.
I can say that all day long.
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen. Hancock Amendment.
Yeah, no.
The Hancock Amendment allows these taxing entities to have a tax neutral event. So if the appraisal drops by 20%, they go, oh, hey, wait a second, Hancock Amendment, we're going to keep the rates exactly where they are, or we're going to raise them because we are not going to take the hit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they got
that's what the
cost.
Hancock Amendment does.
Yeah.
So it's going to take more than one cycle of assessor appraisals to get those taxes down. Now, what I've been saying the last 3 nights in a row is that it's an exciting time to be a Republican running for office in Missouri right now. And exciting to be a Republican running for office in St. Louis County right now.
Yeah.
Nobody likes the assessor.
And he's a Democrat.
Well, that's true.
Of course. Nobody likes the assessor.
But nobody likes the county executive, and they keep reelecting that fool.
Well, I'm going to do the job, and I'm going to go to the places where the Republicans have not been going before.
That's a good idea.
I need to swing 50,000 votes, 50,000 crossover votes. If the last 3 elections were 219 to 159, roughly.
Okay.
So I know the job I need to do, and I'm going to do it. Do you got $20?
Yeah. I'll give $20.
200?
I'll give you 20.
If you ask the current county
Tough
assessor,
negotiator.
that $20 will be 200 pretty quick.
Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah. Do you have a primary? Are you the only?
I do have a primary, but I've already won.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to say his name on the air, right? That
No,
would be good.
there is no primary. I am my own primary opponent. So there is no other opponent in the primary.
Oh, okay.
I've won the primary that hasn't happened yet.
And
Oh,
the
good for
incumbent's
you.
running against you.
That's correct. The incumbent is wanting to keep and retain that position, and I'm not going to allow that to happen.
Okay.
Good.
That
Good to hear.
He was the first elected assessor in 70 years.
That's correct, Phil. But I am going to be the second elected assessor in 80.
Okay, we got a problem. When did they go from appointed to elected?
2011.
Okay, and he's been there since 20. He's been there 10 years.
That's
11
correct.
years. Yeah.
And the interesting thing, when it was an appointed position, there were qualifications.
Yeah, that hurts.
Yeah. Well, it does hurt if you don't have the qualifications.
Yeah.
Well, the qualifications were you had to have 5 years in managerial experience,
And you
or
do.
Real estate.
And you do.
or 5 years in the real estate business.
Which you do. Okay.
4 times I have that.
Okay.
20 years.
Okay.
And or the lowest rung was government. General government experience. Like you could have been elected dog catcher.
Okay.
He barely made the lowest rung of qualification when elected to that office.
What was he before?
Yeah. Dog catcher. She just
He was
told
dog detective.
No, he was a state rep.
you. Oh.
Oh, that's right. That's
and-
right. I know that.
And I think he was part of the prosecuting attorney's office before that as well. He's a Harvard-trained lawyer. What they know about real estate in St. Louis County, well, it's evident, not much.
No.
I think he'd be losing money if Harvard's trained lawyer.
Well,
Couldn't he,
depends on when he what rank he was when he graduated. Right?
If you graduate last from Harvard, you still have graduated from Harvard.
Yeah, it's still a Harvard degree at Harvard Law School.
Lower third, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We have no idea.
And this is your first time running?
No, actually, I did back at the turn of the century,
Uh-oh.
2000.
Showing your age
Yeah.
now.
That's right. Back in 2000, I ran for alderman in the city of Brentwood,
Oh, okay.
and I beat the dead guy,
Okay.
which is hard to do in the state of Missouri.
Great.
Sometimes it is, yeah.
Well, no one was going to appoint me attorney general had I lost, like Mr. Ashcroft to Mel Carnahan.
Yeah.
But that happened before that. I did beat the dead guy in my election, and I was an alderman in Brentwood from 2000 2002.
Oh, okay.
And all that stuff on
stuff.
Eager Road, all those TIFs and those TDDs, I got thrown into the deep end pretty quickly and learned a whole lot real fast.
Great. All right. Well,
So yeah,
you got any question? Any more questions? Is there anything else people want to know more about you?
Yeah. You married?
Well,
Kids?
well, I
Do
have
you own a house?
I have 2 daughters.
Okay.
I am no longer married.
Okay.
But I have one graduating from the University of Texas.
wow.
She went on a
Austin?
full ride scholarship for swimming.
Oh.
nice.
She swam against the dude.
She did?
He has
She did.
dolphins for
What?
dogs.
All right.
She
Dolphins.
Yeah, he did.
Oh.
She swam against the dude at the NCAA championships.
Oh.
Yeah.
And obviously, she would have placed one spot higher had the dude not been
Yeah.
there. I spent many mornings before school sleeping in my car while my daughters were at swim practice to have, 20 years later, be watching my daughter or hearing about my daughter in a ladies' locker room having to change next to the dude,
Yeah.
which is disgusting. Anyway,
Yeah.
very proud of my
Yeah.
2 daughters. My other daughter is also a swimmer at the University of Texas. So I have 2 daughters, 2 little fishies, down at University of Texas, Austin, and very proud of them. They're very. My daughter's graduating with a mechanical engineering degree this spring,
Nice.
in addition to swimming for.
So
for
did you ever
education.
swim?
I'm a sinker.
Sinker?
Okay.
It has to be frozen for me to really participate.
I see.
played a lot of hockey.
Hockey.
There you
Okay.
go. Okay. Well,
Stay out of my corner.
yeah.
Don't be in my crease. Those are 2
Don't
things you
be
learn.
in
Models,
my
yeah,
crease.
that's-
Wow.
Crease? Yeah. I guess that's not good. I'm not a hockey player.
That's-
I'm
that's
not
the-
either,
both sound
but
bad to me.
something
The
about
blue
crease.
paint.
Yeah, don't be in my crease. Does
Yeah.
not sound good.
Yeah, no, I'll stay away from creases. And your corner's your
Especially
corner, pal.
his crease.
I'll go find my own corner.
I'm talking about the blue paint on the
know what you're
ice in
talking
front
about.
of the goal. Okay.
see my coffee cup here?
Hey,
Let's go Blues.
It's after 10 o'clock. You asked for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I thought this was a family show.
We're trying to wake some people up here, you know?
What about if people want to know more about you? Where should they go?
Yeah.
Or
Newassessor.com. It's pretty
Okay.
easy. I am
Great.
your new assessor. It's newassessor.com. My email is peter@newassessor.com.
Hey,
Yay,
that's
Peter, thank you
pretty
so
cool.
much
Yeah,
for
thank
coming
you.
on and being our surprise guest. We appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate being here. Thank you both so very much. We'll hope to see you soon. And make sure and vote in the August 2nd primary. Vote for me. I'm the only guy on the ballot.
Well, why don't we
All
just,
right.
yeah, we can vote in November for you too, right?
That would be beneficial for all of us.
I may have to wait till November, but yeah, there's no problem. Thanks, Peter.
Great. Thanks for being
And
here.
we'll be right back, folks. audio on this. Welcome back,
Yeah.
folks. This is our
Having all kinds of surprising moments at the Rick and Hasha at night.
and we've changed people at the left table.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
different
that's right.
person.
We have
Tristan.
Hasha's son,
Yeah.
and we're going to talk about parental
Got
rights.
Brevin in the background here helping
Yeah.
Phil out. All right. Yeah, so this parental, we figured we just talk about this and talk a little bit about LGBTQIA in general, but also children that are LGBTQIA. I can't say that very well. I'm focusing though, so I can say it. But supposedly there's this guy on TikTok who is really, really upset about this bill. And just, I know you guys can't see this, but he's actually dressed up in a, what is it, a rainbow
It is.
outfit or something?
It's a spandex gay pride shirt.
All right, let's hear what he has to say. He actually says children will die because of this bill, which I think is a little extreme. Call me crazy.
Just keep in mind, he is wearing spandex.
He's wearing a spandex shirt.
Yes.
It's rainbow.
Throughout this whole thing.
All right, here we go. Wait, where'd he go? Oh, here he is.
Today by Governor Ron DeSantis. And what it states in there is that school districts may not encourage the discussion of orientation or gender identity in K through 3. And after that age, discussions must be age appropriate. Intentionally vague, no substance. There is absolutely no classroom instruction going on in elementary school about orientation or gender identity. What is occurring is queer kids are showing up as themselves at school. And yeah, that happens early. I'm a queer dad, and my daughter, who is 8 now, came out to us as straight when she was 5.
Wait a minute.
I myself
Time out.
knew.
You're going to have to explain that.
That's
I'm sorry.
bizarre. Huh? That's bizarre.
Is
5 years old?
Is this a test? Do we have a test at the end of this? He's queer. He's got a daughter.
queer.
And his daughter's
His
queer.
daughter's straight.
Straight.
She came out as straight when she was 5 years
Okay.
old.
But he's queer and he has a daughter.
Yes.
Okay. That's maybe he'll show us how. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, don't be sorry.
Yeah.
Don't be ever sorry about interrupting
Wait,
this.
wait.
Okay.
I was queer at 5. Queer kids are here and they have been here forever. We come out of the womb that way.
No, you don't.
All this bill really does
No, you
is
don't.
make school unsafe for queer families. Whether it's a family like mine where my daughter won't even be able to talk about her 2 dads, or if it's a queer boy or girl showing up to school, hearing messages that they need to be silent about themselves. When queer kids are forced to hide their identity, suicidality and depression skyrocket. And the fact that this bill was signed into law by people who know what they're saying is untrue, just to get votes for a future presidential run at the expense of children.
Now that's queer to think.
Children's lives. Queer kids will die as a result of this bill.
That. Queer kids
All
are
right.
not dying because of this bill.
I may die just listening to
Don't
this
walk on me.
TikTok.
Don't walk on me. Queer kids are not dying because of this bill. I mean, that's matter of fact, the bill hasn't even gone into effect.
No, actually it has.
Has
Yeah.
it?
Was signed into
Okay,
law.
but it's gone.
Yeah.
So
it's
nobody's
signed into
died.
law.
Okay.
No.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, you guys.
I may die because of this TikTok, actually. This is so bad. Will DeSantis run for presidency?
He'd be encouraged to. I don't know if he will. or not.
Running against Trump.
No, he's young. Trump's older.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Well, so he mentioned something. He talks about suicide and then higher rates, and he, in some ways, he is right about that LGBT teens tend to have a higher suicide rate
Yeah, 'cause
than
they're
normal.
nuts.
Well,
that's true.
It is true, and I looked up the CDC, and in 10 to 14-year-olds, actually suicide is the third, and that's just overall. Okay, and not queer or anything like that, just overall. In 15 to 24, it's number 2. Along with 25 to 34, it's number 2, believe it or not, according to the CDC. 10 leading causes of death by age group. And so I think it's interesting he brings this point. However, I want everybody to understand. Look, I have no problems necessarily with people that are LGBTQIA or whatever they want to do. I'm not going to tell somebody how to parent either, because I don't want anybody telling me how to parent. But I will say this, that's not what this is about. This is about the public education system pushing it on our children. That's the issue. And I think that's what this law is in place for. It's in place because we do not want people pushing their own values onto children. Now, if a child comes up to somebody and says, hey, I have this issue, okay, you have this issue. But I don't think this is not what this bill is for, what this law is for. I think this law is for teachers not to be trying to indoctrinate the children that are in third grade on this.
Whoa, yeah, I mean, what this guy just said is that teachers aren't teaching about sexual orientation. Yes, they are, because actually in Florida, there was something called the genderbread man, which was being taught to preschoolers. Some of you may remember that. The genderbread man. It was a gingerbread man with like a bunch of sexual symbols near its pelvis, like a brain on its head, like a human brain, not anything weird. But
that is weird.
It was super messed up, really weird, and I think that's actually DeSantis actually showed that image when he was
he's supporting. Yeah, he was supporting this. Oh, I didn't even know that.
I went to a meeting today, a Central Right meeting, which you're invited to.
Yeah.
Every month.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
They had a gentleman there who has his own agenda. We'll talk about it some other time. Matter of fact, we might even invite him on the show. But he read, this is what's being taught in a Missouri school in kindergarten. A long time ago, way before you were born, a group of white people made up an idea called race. They sorted people by skin color and said white people are better, smarter, prettier, and they deserve more than anybody else. Now, of course, this was about CRT, obviously.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's not that far. I mean,
No.
It goes along with what you were saying, is parents have the right to enforce their own ideas on raising their children over the schools. Now, apparently, there's something in Missouri that you can sign or copy off, sign, and instruct the schools by state law if there's an issue that you don't want your children to hear, and the schools have to comply. But this isn't very public. But
I think it's sex education. I think you can opt out of sex education.
And
so
CRT?
No, not that I know of. But I
Okay.
know you can opt out of sex education in public schools.
And anything that refers to sex is taboo.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm
Okay.
just I know that
We'll find out.
the actual classes for sex ed you can opt your kids out of, which I would have done if they had continued to be in public school.
Had they been in school?
Yeah, because I don't think that's something that the school needs to teach anyway, honestly. I think that needs to be taught at home. And, I think the school system and the public school system becomes so intrusive into family values and trying to instill values in children. These are topics that were always left up to the parents previously. And then, of course, the parents started to give up more and more of their power in raising their own children. So this is what we get, in a way.
Back to the CRT thing. I mean, the best way to beat racism is just not caring about race. That's like the best way. Right. I mean, I go to boxing about 3 times a week, and what I just noticed about 2 weeks ago? That one of my boxing coaches are black. I just noticed that. I don't care. I don't see race.
Yeah. I think nowadays, though, in your generation, you're being taught to look at race as, the defining factor of who you are and who everybody else is. It's very wrong.
That's not racist. How could that be racist?
Yeah.
Hating white people for being white. Not racist.
This is one of the books there's supposed to be 3 books. I think Sex is one and another, but it's Our Skin. It's a first conversation about race, and this is in our public schools.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
And there's one about sex, and there's one about a third thing. But I got the gentleman's card.
Yeah, we should actually
I'll
have
get him-
somebody on.
Get
talk
him
about
on the
this.
show. He is lobbying to get some real enforcement done on this.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be a great guy to have on the show.
I just thought about that as we talked.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be coming up on a break here
Is it
pretty
really?
soon.
What's
Yeah,
our, what's our
already.
engineer say? Is our engineer say we're
Is our
almost break time?
Engineer.
You better say something.
Where is
Yeah.
Well, we're going to be coming up to our last
We got-
half-hour segment.
Okay.
Fun with a capital U, entertainment and sports. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we have any sports this time, but we do have some
Hmm.
entertaining news. We'll be talking about superheroes. We're going to be talking about Johnny Depp. Get into a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And
any other time that would be a big story. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, but now it's yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, it's going on and on. You know what I mean?
It's exciting.
But it's interesting.
Uh-huh.
It's taking all kinds of turns.
Yeah. She's been diagnosed from everything from healthy to institutionalized.
Yeah.
And yeah, but she seems to be taking it well. She is a beautiful woman. She was
Amber?
yeah, she's on Amber Heard. Is that her
Oh,
name?
Amber
Amber?
Heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. She was an Aquaman. I did not
I
know
don't
that.
know.
Yeah.
It's
She's
just
an Aquaman actress.
I just seen her for the first time or second time here recently.
Yeah.
So that's
the way it goes.
yeah. What else you been watching on TV?
I know.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of different things that we've got coming up here. So please stay with us. And
We'll be right back
we'll
after
be
the break,
right back
folks.
After the
All right.
break.
Welcome back. This is Rick and Hashi at Night, coming from beautiful downtown Chesterfield, Missouri. This is Hasha and the boys' favorite segment. They seem to like to have fun doing this, and it's so far it's been fun. Is it going to be fun tonight? We don't have any sports, I understand, but we have
No,
a
we
lot
don't,
of
unless you
entertainment.
have some sports you want to say.
No. Well, the only thing I know about sports is recently that St. Louis Cardinals have been throwing a lot at the heads of the opposing team's batters. So, but that's baseball, I guess. That's sports.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I've got a 100-year-old man worked for the same company for 84 years. How about that?
Wow, he should own it by now, huh?
Yeah. He was awarded a Guinness Book of World Records after working for 84 years and 9 days at the same company. He's Brazilian. so he's not from here.
Okay.
And I think that's pretty amazing.
Is this in Brazil?
Yeah, I think so.
No Social Security in Brazil, huh?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. I have no idea.
I think it's. I retired and at an earlier age than I thought I would, and then I got bored. So I think it's pretty cool going back. It's for him.
Yeah, he's in good health, and he still drives himself to the office. Apparently,
Okay.
he's 100 years old. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
I hope I'm still driving myself around it.
keeping the
100.
same job for that long. I mean, I can't even get a job because no one wants to hire 14-year-olds.
Yeah, I know. We talked about that.
So I'm
can't-
envious.
I can't hear. Oh, maybe. Another interesting little note here. It's National Superhero Day today.
Oh, there you go. You got a favorite superhero?
No.
Okay. Not even your mom? Your mom's not
No.
your superhero?
No.
but
no,
I don't
still
count.
no.
I mean, I could see you dressed up as Wonder Woman. You know that?
I was when
I
I,
don't
was
wanna
in
see
first
that.
grade. I was in a parade, and I
Uh-huh.
dressed up as Wonder Woman.
See? Huh? How's
Yeah,
that?
a long time ago.
I like Ghost Rider.
You know, before the Florida Don't Say Gay bill, I dressed up as Wonder Woman.
Of course, apparently this day was started by Marvel Comics in 1995.
Okay.
And it's celebrated annually. And Marvel Comics, I guess, sent interns out to the streets in central Pennsylvania to interview children about what superpowers they would most like to have. And so the holidays started, and I guess now people celebrate it. I guess people who are into superheroes.
Who's your superhero, engineer?
Ghost Rider.
That's a good one.
Oh, it
Flaming
is.
skull guy on a motorcycle.
That is cool.
Bloody chain.
Wow.
It's not bloody.
What is it?
It's just on fire.
Some of the fan art, it's bloody.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's wallpaper material.
Okay.
I guess
And
so.
your favorite is?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
No.
Not even that. Well, never mind. I'm gonna say it.
No. I don't know. These superheroes nowadays, I don't know. I mean, I guess
Good night.
I don't know if I have to pick one or not, but I don't necessarily. I like Ghost Rider. I think that's a really good one. I think that's an interesting one.
I like Frank Castle too, aka the
yeah,
Punisher.
yeah.
Punisher. Yeah, I never really think about that as a superhero, but I guess he is.
There's a female Punisher.
Is he a superhero or just a hero?
He's a superhero because he has too many guns.
Yep. Bunch of liberal people writing about things that they believe are impossible, like
Yeah.
a guy owning more than one gun. So, just adds up.
Well, I know you guys went and watched the Batman movie.
Oh yeah.
How was that?
It was a good movie. Of course, there was some slight woke things, like very slight. If you can just ignore them, you can go through. Like Commissioner Gordon was black. Catwoman was, I don't know, some kind of indigenous person, semi-black. I don't know, something
Didn't
like
she have
that.
super short hair in that movie?
Yeah,
too?
does she even have hair? That's my
Right.
question.
Was she a little bit mannish?
She was very mannish.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
not
mind
good.
It was a good movie. I don't know.
the black Commissioner Gordon because I think that was probably the least woke thing about it. It had, I mean, the Wonder Woman, no, not Wonder Woman, the Catwoman character. She was very sort of just
Uncatty.
uncat.
Who was she?
She looked like a stick bug.
Who played her?
I don't remember, but I did like the actor who played Commissioner Gordon because he was also in the Hunger Games. He did a good job there too.
Oh, wait a minute. Who was that one? Was that tall guy?
No, he was kind of plump. He had glasses that were always
okay.
crooked.
Ah, okay.
I think his name was BG, and he played the character BG.
It was a guy in the wheelchair.
Oh.
Well,
Well, I don't know if any of our
fourth
listeners
movie.
have seen the Hunger Games, but they're very good. They're
Who
very
was
good
Batman?
movies.
Batman was the guy who played Twilight. You know that the guy
the
who,
hot teen.
Yes,
Hot
yeah.
vampire
okay.
teen.
The guy that
Okay.
the guy that still looks like a teenager.
No.
Yeah. That, I'm sure our fans know who it is.
Yes.
It's
That
a good
guy.
que- Yeah.
Was his name Robert Pattinson? Is that his name?
I think so. He was in
He was the love interest of Belle, right?
what?
No.
He was Belle's love interest.
Oh, I don't know.
You know more about this than I
Twilight.
do.
I don't know anything.
Twilight
about
was a vampire,
Yeah, the vampire.
and the
people.
girlfriend
yeah,
was Belle. Her dad was a cop, and then she had another love interest who was a werewolf.
Are you watching this? Because
I'm
I
getting
have
concerned
no
about you.
idea what you're talking about.
Do what?
Are you watching this program?
Well, you know a lot more about Twilight than I thought you would know.
Well, there's
I don't know
even the
anything about
characters'
it.
names.
all I
Sorry,
knew
guys.
was this guy was in it.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's it.
I know you're talking about. Yeah. And is he a good Batman?
Actually, surprisingly, yes. Of course, they needed somebody skinny who could fit inside of the suit. So, he was good Batman. This was a serious movie about the Riddler, which I don't believe has happened before. So, and the Riddler was just a serial killer, and it was like the old Batman comics from the 40s, where Batman was really just a detective. That's what this was.
Okay.
That's what this was.
So they're creating Riddler in the image of the Joker with Heath. What was Heath Ledger? All right. Is that what this is doing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Heath Ledger played Joker in the last Batman movies, and it was very serious and very sinister. And so, they did the same thing with the Riddler. And I guess he was more like a serial killer, right?
No,
The
he
Riddler.
is a serial killer.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
what he is. Actually,
He was more of a terrorist.
yes, he's a terrorist. I wouldn't call him a serial killer. He's just a terrorist. Because at the end of the movie, he got everything that he wanted. Like, he got rid of all the
Oh, well,
corrupt powers.
don't tell the ending.
Oh, yes, of course. Of course.
Well, Batman 2, I guess, is going to be coming out. That was confirmed by Warner Brothers. So Batman 2 will be coming out.
Same characters.
Yep,
Yeah.
same guy. So
right.
everybody can
This will be interesting.
look forward to that.
I
What
hope it has less woke stuff because I mean I could ignore the woke stuff.
But that's kind of hard
Oh,
to
was
do
it pretty
anymore.
evident?
I barely
It
even noticed.
was like a couple of scenes where it was just talking, and you know, they slipped some, I don't know. I think Catwoman talks about white privilege. I remember that.
Oh.
It was like a small amount. It was like one sentence.
Yeah, but
That
I
was
just
about it.
ignored it, and the rest of the movie was great. I mean, I think the Riddler was my favorite. I also like the Nolan Joker. Those two guys are probably my favorite supervillains.
But the Catwoman was not
No, she was
Halle Berry, really.
No, she was
Halle
kinda-
Berry.
Berry.
Yeah.
Oh, she's hot.
Yeah, she did a really
Oh,
good job
yeah,
as
that's-
Catwoman.
That's. Did you see that one?
No.
That may be before your time. That's.
Yeah, that was before his time.
I mean, the Catwoman in this movie, she's not a cat. She's more like a cat that hasn't eaten in a long, long time. That's what she is.
She didn't have much of a figure,
No.
I guess.
So what about? Are we going to talk about Johnny? Are you all going to talk about Johnny Depp?
I want to talk about one more thing about
Okay.
this whole superheroes thing. So I thought this was pretty hilarious. There is a Batman comic book coming out, and it's called Justice League, but it's called Jurassic League.
Oh,
And Batman and the other characters the other Justice League characters are dinosaurs.
Don't think about getting this for your children.
No,
'cause-
it is not. It's very adult. It's not, but for the sounds of it, it sounds like it's a kid's thing.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's coming out May 10th, and it's called Jurassic League, and it's actually very bloody. As you
Okay.
can see some of these photos here. Look, that's pretty bloody stuff.
yeah.
My God.
So, and
This is comics.
this is comic books. Yeah, this is a comic book.
Dinosaur in heaven.
Yeah, and the Justice League are dinosaurs. I don't know how they come up with this. Look at that.
Creativity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen this? Or did
No,
Did
no.
you find it? Here, take a look.
Let me see that.
Keep you in that.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Dinosaur Batman
Hey,
and Dinosaur Joker.
I wonder what Wonder Woman looks like. What if, I'm not going to go there. So we'll lose
That's
fans.
the
so I don't
dumbest
wanna
thing
do
I've
that.
ever
Yeah.
seen. But anyway, I'm sure that there's a audience for that. So Megan Fox, I think you know who Megan Fox is.
Absolutely.
Everybody knows who Megan Fox is. She's married to this really weird guy named Machine Gun Kelly, and which makes her, by association, weird. So it gets even more weird. Do you want to hear what she does?
Yes.
She has a blood drinking ritual that she does with Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh, each other's blood?
Yes. Yes.
Who else
Oh, my
would
God.
it be, Rick?
Huh?
Yeah.
Who else's would it be?
Your
Rick?
own. Your own.
Oh, your own blood?
Yeah,
Oh,
you can
I
drink
guess
your
you
own
drink
blood.
Your own blood.
Oh,
That's called boosting. But you don't do it orally. You do it,
Right.
with
Put
injection.
it in your. Isn't that what
Yeah.
what Armstrong used to do? Lance Armstrong.
Lance Armstrong, yeah. A lot of people have done that. But Lance.
It's called
Lance-
blood doping.
Yeah. He's
It's
the
a
most
little
famous.
sports. Hey, see, we have
Hey,
little
yeah.
sports in
We,
this.
we are having fun, aren't we? Huh? Sports.
Yeah, it's called blood doping. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
when you take your blood out, put it in the freezer or whatever, and then
Mm-hmm.
your blood, regains, and then you put the blood back in, and then you'll have more blood, which means more oxygen to your muscles and
Boost your
everything.
system.
Yeah, but that's not why they're drinking. They're doing this. Megan Fox apparently drinks Machine Gun Kelly's blood, and he drinks her blood. But just for rituals, she says. It's not like they do it all the time. It's just for ritual purposes.
The
in case
special
anybody was
occasions.
worried.
There's nothing wrong
It's
with that.
and she said it's just a few drops, but yes, we do consume each other's blood on occasion for ritual purposes only. This is quoting her. What do you
well,
think,
if it's
Rick?
only occasionally.
Well, I'd like to say I don't believe in it. I don't want to know what the ritual would be.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just a few drops. I mean,
Angelina Jolie used to do weird things like that with what's
worse.
his face.
With Billy Joe
I
Thornton.
mean, didn't they have each other's blood in some kind of like it's something
In a
what's the
vase?
blood thing? Yeah, around her neck or something.
And what some women have, what they used to inject pregnant women's urine into their body or something like that to lose weight.
No, weird.
Yeah. Of course, that's not a sport. It's not very entertaining, but, that
Well, and she's got a couple of kids.
Megan
right?
Fox is?
Yes. And
With Machine Gun Kelly?
I don't know who it's from.
No,
some
it's
other guy.
Some other. It's her ex-husband.
Okay.
And you can just know that this woman is crazy because she literally used the word, oh, yes, we consume each other's blood on occasion.
Oh,
I can't remember one instance where I used the word consume where it wasn't creepy.
All related to blood.
Yeah.
Yes, that's very true. And her oldest son started wearing dresses when he was 2 years old, she said, and she encourages that. And anyway, this is the weird thing. So at the very end of this interview, I guess, that she gave, she said she keeps her children off of social media, though. Well, I guess she gets a point there, right? Because
Yeah.
she thinks that social media is, and I quote, sinister, end quote. Although the consuming of each other's blood is not sinister.
It's like
Occasionally, at a ritual.
No, it's only occasionally.
And at a ritual.
And just for rituals.
Huh. Well, we all have our priorities.
it's like Christmas.
Well, we can talk a little bit about poor old Johnny Depp. I know we talked about him last week. He was getting raked over the coals for all his weird stuff that he does, but he kind of opened the door when he filed this lawsuit. But now, I'm kind of feeling bad for the guy in some ways because he's got problems. That's obvious. He's got probably drug problems and some alcohol issues and this and that. But she said that she's a victim of domestic abuse. Okay. And so far, I haven't heard anything about any domestic abuse that he's done to her, except that he gets drunk and gets high or whatever.
Breaks cabinets and throws
Right.
things. And,
But there's no evidence so far that shows he's ever been violent to her, interestingly enough. But, they are showing all this other stuff that he's done, which...
Well, I'd be scared of him if I was her. But the reverse is true, too. If I would be scared of her if I was him. I mean, it's kind of a contest to see who's the craziest.
Yeah. And you know what was interesting? So the general counsel of the ACLU testified today that Amber Heard's op-ed in the Washington Post, this is what this is all about, that she said she was a victim of domestic violence, that was all timed, and he admitted, or the general counsel admitted, I don't know if it's a he or her, that it was timed to capitalize on the release of Aquaman. Like, she specifically gave them instructions to make sure to release this op-ed
At this time.
at the time for Aquaman.
So this is free publicity?
So right away you got to wonder, What's that all about?
It's a lot of free publicity. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's,
I also heard this little audio, which I don't have with us, but I did hear the audio of her, basically them going back and forth, like a spat that was getting recorded. And there was a lot of these recordings that they did of each other, right? And she sounds very like abrasive to him, and it's kind of the opposite. She's kind of mocking him and, talking to him in a negative tone. And it's just weird because somebody who's been abused probably wouldn't be popping off at the mouth like that she was doing, particularly in that way.
That's interesting, yeah.
And he was not like really saying anything back to her. He's kind of like, you could hear him he was like, with this weird voice, really low voice.
Yeah.
And she was like, I just find the whole thing is messed up. They're both very, very messed up people. It's kind of like watching a car crash,
It is.
You can't take your eyes off of it.
And the lawyers seem to be pretty skilled, though. I mean, it's
Yeah, of course.
That's one thing that's been impressive. Of course, yeah, I wonder what's to get paid an hour.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
To famous Hollywood stars with mega bucks. Because I think he's gone bankrupt a couple times, hasn't he?
Who, Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Serious financial problems, but he'll make a movie. He doesn't look good. He looks really bad up there, bloated like.
He does.
Yeah.
Well, he looks real bad. Yeah.
Well, she looks really good. Good thing I'm not on the jury. How about you?
Amber Heard.
Yeah. Have you been watching it?
I haven't heard of Amber Heard.
But you know who Johnny Depp is, all right?
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Mr. Engineer? You been watching it?
No, but I do like the movie Rango. I think Johnny Depp's a good actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I like Dillinger. I like him in Dillinger. That was my favorite movie of him.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. Also, Alex Baldwin's been talking. Have you got any of that?
No. What's he been saying?
Well, he's on video showing how he practiced. And
Practice what? Shooting people?
Well,
in practicing?
The movie, the draw. How he drew the weapon and all that.
What?
He said that they changed their story from, now he's saying, my understanding they changed anyway, I could be wrong, the prop person give it to him.
Oh.
And not, I think that before they said it was the story monitor or some other person, assistant, actually give him the gun.
Oh.
And now he thought, because it had happened so many times before and it would have been empty or should have been empty, that, when he in practice, he pulled it out and fired. And that's,
Yeah, what's going on with that case? Do you know?
No, I don't. I have no idea.
Why has that only come out now?
Why the change?
Yes.
Because they're being cross-examined, probably.
Yeah.
That's a good question. But I mean, and the other thing is, on both of them, in this, what made me think of it at the time. Actually, Alex Baldwin is acting better in his crisis than Johnny Depp. Who's, if there's Academy Awards, Johnny Depp's not going to get any awards, but Alex Baldwin is coming across
very sincere.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Sincere, realistic, and remorseful. I mean, he's showing a lot of great remorse. I guess in his own way, Depp is too, though. He's sorry he's in this, but it's. But he created it. He sued her. He's suing her.
He did sue her, so he's got to know that everything's going to come out. He's got to know that every little single detail, particularly when you have celebrity. Look, I represented, Nick Loeb for many years against Sofia Vergara, who's a very, very powerful actress. And they went after him hard for everything, and they even went after me. So they go after they're very cutthroat, the people there in Hollywood with their attorneys, and it's California.
Yeah,
so it's even worse. People are always suing each other. People are always, getting sanctioned. People are always like, this is like a normal thing in California court, which I didn't even know. But I was working with some of the California attorneys, and they're like, all of a sudden we're getting slapped with sanctions. When you get slapped with sanctions, basically the judge is saying you did something completely wrong, and you've got to pay this amount of money to the court. I mean, not, when I say us, I mean, my client. But also attorneys get sanctioned all the time over there. And that doesn't happen in Missouri. Like, there is nobody, I mean, you do not get sanctioned in Missouri as a lawyer, or you're close to losing your license. But over there,
routine
lawyers are getting sanctioned all the time.
Oh.
$2,000 here, $3,000 there. I mean, they're getting sanctioned for like, not doing something, or doing something shouldn't have done, and it's just a very different environment over there, especially with.
Is there a
legally.
statute of limitations on an act a lawyer could have done that you could get sanctioned for? Because a California lawyer thoroughly upset me not too long ago.
I think it's a year. I think that's it. It's a year. Yeah. I think it's that fast. Yeah. And that was interesting too. I was like, what? Like, you can like commit malpractice, I guess, and just wait a year out and you're good as gold. I mean, but I guess they have to do that in California because
so frequent.
Yeah, it's so frequent. Also, I don't know if you know this, but in California, they have the highest failure rate of the bar exam in California.
Is the bar that hard? The test
well,
that hard?
It's 3 days, and California seems most of them are 2 days, so they seem to think. But the reason for that is not because the bar is necessarily that hard. It's because the majority of people that are in California go to schools. Well, not majority, but maybe a large part of the people that go to schools, California law schools, those law schools are not certified or accredited by the Bar Association. So they're just like, they can go like get a law degree through correspondence,
Okay.
And so there's a lot of those. And so that's why I think they see a high failure rate, is because they're not accredited. They go to schools that aren't accredited. So
isn't there a class though on the bar exam itself?
Yeah, you can take. It's called Barbary.
Barbary.
There's Barbary, and then there's other courses you could take too. But I took Barbary for mine.
Okay.
And it's like a 3-week course or something, and you go in and you try to, they tell you everything you need to know for the bar, and and then you go take the test, and hopefully you pass.
Did you pass it first time?
I did, and then I went and took the Illinois bar, and I passed that one too.
First time?
Yeah.
Now, Illinois bar is supposed to be tougher than Missouri. Is that right?
No, it's about the same.
Yeah, I heard it was.
Yeah, it's about the same. I didn't notice any difference.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, California is a different world.
I went out there as an experienced police officer, 50 years old, been certified in 2 states, had a federal commission, had an advanced certificate from the state of Texas, and I had to go to a rookie school all over again. Yeah, that was the bad part. The good part was it was an extended academy, 1 year every weekend in Monterey, California, all expenses paid.
Oh.
Yeah, so it worked out, it worked out okay. Good, bad, stuff like that. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, everybody, we used to call in law school, we used to call it, what do we call it? We would always say California was like a different country with its laws.
It is, yeah.
Because even the laws themselves are different than other places in the United States. Believe it or not, it's kind of funny. Yeah. Especially the precedent, like the California courts, how they set down stuff is so different than they do in other jurisdictions in other states.
Speaking of laws and states, when you was reading a previous thing about the voting thing, I think it was, and being charged with treason. I didn't realize Missouri had a treason statute. It does.
I think it does, yeah.
I had to look it up, but I always thought of treason as being against the federal government, not anything against the state government. But, to me, that would be, but you can do it. I mean, it's not, they're not having to add another statute for that. But
yeah, it's interesting because treason, we do think normally that's just the federal government or something, that you are against the country. But you can do this also against, I guess, the state. And, it makes sense because we were originally a republic more than we are now as far sovereign states. You know what I mean?
Yes, they were.
The states were more sovereign. Right now, our states are not sovereign. We are really, really dependent on the federal government for everything. And when you are financially dependent on somebody, are you really sovereign?
Not in any word, in definition I know of.
Yeah.
But California is still known as the Republic of California, and Texas is still known as the Republic of Texas.
Yeah.
So that's yeah.
I would
it's
really
important.
like to see Missouri be less dependent on federal dollars. That's really what I wish I would hear more Missouri candidates talking about, the ones that are running for governor or running for any of these offices in statewide, is to say, hey, we really need to be less dependent on the federal government so we could be more sovereign.
Plus, yeah, let's keep more of our money here, and then instead of sending to you and have you send back percentages anyway. One thing I wish they'd abolished and totally is the United States Department of Education.
Oh, gosh, that should have been, done away with. I will say this is interesting. I found on Facebook today talking about kind of being sovereign in Missouri. This is today, 8 Republicans joined 10 Democrats. This is in the Missouri legislature to pass an expansion of the food stamp program in Missouri to include restaurants and fast food.
What do you think?
I think that was terrible. And 8 people.
8 Republicans.
8 Republicans. 2 of them
Crossed over.
are in
Leadership.
Jefferson County.
Oh,
One of them is my state rep.
really?
Yeah, and the other one's the senator. So I was really kind of surprised by that.
Who was your senator?
I think maybe it's not him. I know, I think I've got another senator, but it's one of the ones in Jefferson County.
I think 2 senators. Wheeland?
Wheeland.
Is he in leadership?
I'll tell you who the Republicans were. Bean, Gannon, Hogue, Lutgemeyer, Rowden, Schatz, White. These are all the people. Wheeland. Those are all the Republicans.
I think two in leadership voted for that.
Yeah, you heard about this then.
I heard about
terrible.
it today at the center right. Yeah,
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's disappointing.
we need to get you there.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll do that.
You'll make more contacts
June.
there in 1 hour than you will homeschooling in 1 year.
Yeah. Well, I got to do it for my boys. You know.
Yeah, sacrifices must be made.
They're the next generation coming up.
Yeah, they are.
Sadly.
Yeah.
Very sadly.
And one more little
it's
tidbit.
exciting. It's exciting. It
George
really is.
Jetson was a 40-year-old dad in 2062. That means he was born this year. How about that?
And that's in the Marvel comedies, or what is it?
No, this is just something I saw and I thought was
you're
funny.
talking about the old TV
George
show.
Jetson, yes, the
okay,
Jetsons,
yeah,
Rick.
Okay.
Do you remember the Jetsons?
Yeah, I do now. Yeah, they came right
The
after
dad was 40
Flintstones.
years old, and it was taking place in year 2062. That means that he was born this year.
All right. Well,
Happy birthday.
yeah. Welcome to the world, George.
Jetson.
Yeah. I wonder what happened to Fred Flintstone.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate you. Take care. Be safe. We love you. And thanks for listening to Rick and Hasha at Night.
Good night.